Hey house guests, welcome to the final recap of Big Brother 12. This is it. Somebody from the Bragade is going to win. It's either going to be Lane, Enzo, or Hayden. So let the best man win. Alright, so Enzo thinks he's got no chance because he doesn't think anybody's going to take him to the final two. And that sucks because he is the mastermind of the Brigade. So Lane and Hayden are supposed to have a final two deal, but I don't know if either one of them is going to stick with it. Enzo is not giving up, though. He worked too freaking hard to let somebody else walk off with his prize. So, yeah, Enzo. Julie checks in with the three chuckleheads, and she has questions for all of them. So she asks Enzo, was it worth it? Was it worth leaving baby G and your wife, Joelle? If he doesn't win, it wasn't worth it, Julie. And Hayden, he freaking feels like he could do anything now. And Lane, what are you going to miss most? A guy called Meow Meow. And, of course, the rest of the people in the house that are voting tonight. All right, so it's time to visit the jury house. And Ragan is totally working on forgiving Matt. And, you know, he's feeling pretty good until Britney arrives wearing a Brigade shirt and immediately spills the whole Brigade alliance to everyone in the jury house, which sends Ragan into the fetal position again, and now he's pissed at Matt again. Why didn't he tell me? Alright, so Matt tells Britney about his wife. If I have to see him do this one more time, I'm just going to throw up. So, of course she was pissed. Who wouldn't be? Come on. You shouldn't tell lies like that. It's not cool. So, Britney was hoping that Rachel was pregnant. That was really cold. I mean, yeah, she's a bitch and all, but that's pretty low. Alright, so it's time for the jury bitch session out in the jury house backyard. Hey guys, let's talk about the Brigade because they're the only people that are left. Were they just lucky or what? No, they weren't. They ran the whole game. So Matt is totally taking credit for masterminding the Brigade. You know, Enzo just came up with the names according to him. And Britney's making the case for Enzo that he really deserves to win the money because he thought up the Brigade because she believes that he really did it. Rachel sees the light of dissing Matt and agreeing with Britney that, yeah, Enzo deserves some props because that'll piss off Matt. And Matt says Hayden deserves it. Well, then Rachel's going to change her mind too. Lane deserves it. I see you're Hayden and I raise you a Lane. Alright, so you can't go wrong as long as you use simple words when you ask the jury questions at the end of the show. Because those two guys, they're not exactly rocket scientists. Alright, so it's time for the final HOH competition. You have to finish the jury statement. You have to pick A or B. So there's 6 questions, 6 statements that you have to pick the correct ending to. And whoever ends up with the most points at the end wins the final HOH. So both of them got the same 2 questions wrong, which means that they're in a tie. So bring out the tiebreaker. In part 1 of the final HOH, how many times were you slammed against the wall? The correct answer was like 250. What the hell was Lane thinking when he said like 55? Yeah, he said 55 and Hayden said 91. 55? Come on, you were on there for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Alright, so actually maybe that was a confusing question because it was like, how many times were you slammed? They all fell off at different times. She should have said how many times in total. Too late. Okay, so that means Hayden wins the whole final HOH, and he decides, but not before they plead, that he's going to take... Who did he take? Not Enzo. Alright, so everybody's pleadings was like, Yeah, it's been great. We all love each other. So yeah, no hard feelings. So that means Enzo's out. Enzo was right. So Enzo talks to Julie. He had a great speech for the finale, so it really sucks that he didn't make it. But he also sucked at the competition, so I don't know how much of a chance he would have had with the jury. And yeah, it's going to be hard to choose a winner for him because both of those guys are his bros. So, butt kissing goodbye messages from both Hayden and Lane. And Enzo was pretty funny, actually. He thanked his parents for making him. Hell, he's just happy to be there. Come on. So it's time to bring out the jury. They got their 6 questions ready, plus Enzo was not a whole part of the figuring out the questions, so of course he gets his own question. Alright, so Rachel, hers is directed to Lane. You didn't win many competitions. What the hell? And he's like, yo, I played it socially. I hate when people are like, oh, I played a social game. Blah, blah, blah. You made it to the final. What do you have to justify it for? Brendon. His question was for Hayden. If not you up on the final 2 there, who should be up there? So he strategically picked Rachel, Brendon, and Britney. All right, Matt. His question was for Lane. Would you have picked Britney or the Brigade if you were in the situation where Britney was in the final 3? He was like, whatever benefits me, and then when pressed, he said the Brigade. That was a pretty smart, answer for him because Britney was going to vote for him no matter what. So it didn't matter if he hurt her feelings at that point or not. Alright, so Kathy, her question was for Hayden. Which one of you guys played a better social game? And Hayden was like, well, I think we played it both the same, but I won more competitions. Alright, and Brittany's question was for Lane, of course. What was the most significant contribution that you made to the Brigade? And of course, Lane is the jester. He made them all laugh. And he kind of watched their backs for them. Whatever. And Ragan's question was for Hayden. Do you regret anything you said in private? And Hayden said, not really. Nothing specific. And Julie had to press him into saying, does that mean you're a good guy? Yes, he's a good guy. And last question, which was from Enzo, was for Lane. Were you really going to take me? Or were you going to take Hayden if you won the final HOH? And he didn't really answer that either. So Julie again had to say, are you a good guy? No, Julie, he's a great guy. So says Lane. Okay, whatever. These guys are just like, who cares? So it's final speech time. Hayden's like, I won comps. I was the best player. You got to vote for me. And Lane was like, I had a blast. It's not about the competitions. It's about how you play. All right, so it's just got BS written all over it. It didn't really matter anyway because I'm sure everybody had in mind what they were going to do anyhow. So it's time for the vote, and it comes down to Enzo. He's going to base it on who needs a haircut and who needs a shave. So he's going to have to make a decision between those two. But wait, after the vote, they bring out the losers. Annie, Monet, Andrew, and Kristen. All right, so no hard feelings, especially from Rachel when she saw what Monet had said in the diary room about her being a hoe. Yeah, Monet, why did you say that? Was it just because it was heat of the moment, or did you really feel that way? Well, it was true, and it was heat of the moment. Classy. Alright, so Hayden and Kristen, you had a little secret showmance, and it was for real. It's been revealed to everyone with video evidence. That was kind of embarrassing. But guess what, kids? She's single now, and Hayden didn't seem all that interested. I don't know. He could have just been, like, playing it low-key, but my gut feeling is I don't think he's all that interested. Alright, Andrew, what was the most shocking thing in the house to you? Well, of course that Enzo was smart enough to think up the Brigade. Number 1. Number 2, Rachel's hair extensions. How could you have not known that that was fake? And number 3, Matt's lie. And he came with the correct pronunciation. Thank you, Captain Kosher. All right, and Annie. She's seen almost every episode because she got thrown out on her ass from, like, the first eviction. She thinks Enzo really deserves to win. And I'm going to have to agree with her. In the beginning, I started out liking Enzo. Then I didn't like him so much. And then, you know, down to the end, he really kind of did deserve to win. But part of the game is luck. And he just wasn't lucky enough to make it into the final 2. All right, so it's also revealed that in Lane's diary session, he said he would take Britney to the final 2. You know, I've seen a lot of these reality shows where people say one thing in the diary room, and then when it comes down to the actual vote or eviction, they actually change their mind. So he might have said that at one point, but put to the screws and given the pressure of actually doing it, I think he might have changed his mind. All right, so Brendon, everybody's dying to know what's going on. Well, she's probably moving to LA from Vegas because she's got to be near her Brendon. And Britney is totally disgusted. But Ragan thinks she would make a beautiful bride. All right, so the saboteur. There are no lifelong friends in the house. And I pretty much said this from like day one when I had heard that. But nobody, you know, got a confirmation either way, but it was definitely not true. And no one suspected that Ragan was the second saboteur, and everyone was very surprised when they found out that he was. I would have thought that more people would have suspected him, but they didn't. Now it's time for the reveal, and Julie is so giddy with excitement that she was putting the keys in the wrong boxes. But in the end, Hayden wins 4-3. Enzo did cast the final vote, so I guess it was for the guy who needed the haircut. And Britney wins America's favorite player. I'm happy for Britney because I think, she, you know, that's who I would have voted for, and I think she deserved to win America's favorite. And especially since I just heard today that her house was in a fire. Her and her fiance's house was significantly damaged. So that money's going to come in handy, although I'm sure it's covered by insurance. But maybe not her stuff. Who knows? So thanks, everyone, on behalf of Maddie for watching this season of Big Brother 12. I had a great time, even though it was a somewhat sucky season. And hopefully we'll see you back next season. Or you might want to check out some of our other recaps or vlogs. We're going to have daily vlogs now that Big Brother is over. And yeah, check us out. And hope we don't disappoint you. So till next time, much love.